So today's video is for all of you or any of you who are feeling overwhelmed by the news. Hi, welcome back to Happy Stuff and Fluff, and welcome to my new subscribers. I know it's been a long time since we spoke. I've been AWOL, and I will tell you about that, but I'm going to do that in another video, so watch out for that. Yeah, so today I'm talking about news anxiety, and I have talked about it before. I'll leave a link to the video down below, but many of you may not have seen that, especially if you're a new subscriber here. And given the comments that I get and from people, and also comments below the videos, there are still a lot of you who struggle like Billy-O with news anxiety, and I think we can all relate to it. Especially, you know, when it feels like the world's filled with negativity, whether that's wars or crises or anything out of our control, it's easy to feel anxious. But what's really instigated this video was that I received a message from someone who's dealing with these feelings, and she's given me permission, by the way, to share her comment with you, at least part of her comment. Well, what struck me about this is she's just 20 years old. She's just 20 years old. So listen to this. She says, since COVID, I've been struggling with news anxiety, and I started catastrophizing about everything, especially about things I can't control. I'm 20 and I'm extremely concerned about my future. And since there are many wars taking place in different parts of the world, I'm not very optimistic, you know. I want to let go of the negativity and start to build my life without worrying about things far away from my own country. And she goes on. But I wanted to bring it to your attention because I know most of my audience, because that's who I pitched it to originally, are women over 50. But if you know any young people, or if you're a young person yourself, but if you know any young people, you may have grandchildren, or you may know younger people at university, bring this subject up to them. And if you can't do that, share this video with them. Because I think to be concerned about this at age 20, it's not fair. It's not fair. They have enough to contend with, enough to deal with at 20 to have to worry about these things. So I would like to say to you, talk to them, ask them, does the news worry them? And then bring it out into the open so that they can at least share their concerns with you. And as I say, share my video. Now, obviously, if you haven't already, please subscribe. But more than that, I think this, you know, we need to help our young people. And if something I say can resonate with one of them, one of your young people, then that's only a good thing, isn't it? Because today what I want to do is offer some suggestions about how to overcome this news anxiety, to shift your mindset and to focus on, or then to be able to focus on building a positive and hopeful future. So what is news anxiety then? Well, it's pretty much what it says on the tin. I mean, when you're constantly exposed to negative headlines, your brain focuses on threat. That's what it does. If you remember, we talked about the reticular activating system way back. I'll leave a link to a video, but basically what it is what you're thinking about is what you tend to see. What you look for is what you find. And so if you're constantly in that threat mode, that's what you're going to see. It's what you're going to see. Now, this is a survival mechanism, part of our evolution. It's how we evolved. But 24/7 news and social media, it can be overwhelming. And sometimes you do start to feel helpless and depressed. Maybe you do catastrophize and start assuming that the worst thing will happen. Now, of course, it's normal to want to stay informed. But when you expose yourself to negative news 24/7, it can distort your view of reality. The American Psychological Association has reported increases in anxiety due to excessive news exposure, especially during crises. Now, as I say, this is a natural response. But move in. It does not reflect reality. It does not reflect reality. Apparently I do that a lot, repeat myself, but only when I want you to, only when it's an important point that I want you to take in. So 9 times out of 10, your environment does not reflect what you see on the news. It just doesn't. It's crucial for you to understand and acknowledge that most of what you worry about never actually happens. I'm tempted to say that one again. But if you take nothing away from this video, those 2 things, the news does not reflect reality. It doesn't reflect reality. And most of what you worry about never actually happens. I mean, how many times have you spent days on end worried about something that may or may not happen in the future? And then it doesn't happen. And you've wasted, however many days you've been worrying, you've wasted that because you're not present enjoying your time whilst you're constantly in the future thinking about what may or may not happen, then only to find it never did happen. And even if it does happen, it's never as bad as you imagine it's going to be. Please remember that when you catch yourself in one of these worried states. I worry too, trust me. The news affects me too, and I worry too. Fortunately, I have the tools in my toolbox, but so do you if you're one of my viewers, and if you listen to this and commit to thinking this way and taking action. Okay, so let's have a look at the first step. The first step, I've said it before, is to limit your news exposure, but also to set boundaries. So I would say to you, do not watch the news or look at your phone either first thing in the morning or last thing at night. If you do it first thing in the morning, it ruins your day. If you do it last thing at night, it ruins your sleep. So let's cut those 2 times out. What you can do is select a time during the day. Choose when it's the best time for you to keep yourself informed on a current situation of some kind, either hearing on the radio or watching the news. Choose a news outlet you trust and stay informed, but only once a day. Actually, I was tempted there then to say, or twice a day at most, but I don't mean it. Once a day. Keep yourself informed once a day. Now, an action step. Unfollow pages that flood your feed with negative content. I know. Do that. Also, be careful what you watch on YouTube, because let's say you're on your homepage on YouTube and there's a clickbaity title and what's that? So you click on it and watch it. Well, then the algorithm just feeds you more of the same. So that when you go on your homepage, you see all this negativity on your page and you think, oh my goodness, it's happening everywhere. No, it isn't. It's simply that you clicked on this piece of negative news. That's what the algorithm thinks you enjoy. And so they send you even more. Watch more of my videos and then YouTube will feed you more positive videos. I mean, what could be more positive in your feed than happy stuff and fluff and moi? And if you do that, you'll get fed more and more positivity. No brainer. And also, whilst I'm talking about the channel, please subscribe. It's free to subscribe. And I'll keep it popping up on your home feed then. That would be marvellous. Okay, so where was I? Yeah, joking aside, you need to control your media diet and feed your mind with balanced, positive, constructive information. That's where we want to get you to. Okay. Step 2, differentiate between what you can control and what you cannot. You can't control that there is suffering in the world. Now, I know, that's the nub of it, isn't it? When you watch the news, it's unbearable to see other human beings suffer. I feel it too. So it's suffering. But as I say, you can't control that there is suffering in the world, but you can control your actions. So if there is something you can do about it, something like it may be in a different country, and you feel helpless, you may not be helpless. You might be able to donate either money, time, or resources. And if it's more local to you, maybe you could give a voice to someone who doesn't have a voice. There may be something you can do. Give it some thought. If you come to the conclusion that there is absolutely nothing you can do, you have to let it go. Step 3 is to reframe your thinking. So as I say, you may not be able to control external events, but you can control your thinking around them or about them. Reframing your thoughts is the most effective way to deal with anxiety. So instead of focusing on fear and the negative, you focus on looking for the good. So again, going back to the reticular activating system, if you're looking for the good, you will find the good. We're only brought the bad news, but there are specialist journalists journalists who specialise in bringing the good news. You could dig out, if you're in the UK, Positive News. I think it's actually called Positive News, and I think there's something similar in the US. But they tell you or deliver the good things that are happening in the world, which of course we don't very often get to hear. So I would have a look at that if you can. Just remember, I think, that there is always something to be grateful for, and try to focus on that. Even in the toughest of times, there's things to be grateful for. I mean, you can start by going for a walk in nature. Now, please don't roll your eyes at this. It's like the best therapy. I mean, don't take your phone, of course, or take it but turn it off. But go for a walk in nature and remind yourself that the world is still a beautiful place, and that some things don't change. Some things are constant and constantly beautiful. Be mindful, be present when you walk in nature. Relax, take a breath, and allow yourself to be brought to peace by nature. Step 4, now you can focus on solutions and positivity. Engage in hobbies, spend time with your family, seek out communities that support your well-being, and just gently leave to one side for the time being anyone who kind of brings you down, or who's pessimistic, or that kind of person for now. Work on your own inner resources to build your own resilience and hope and strength first, and then you can deal with anybody negative in your life. But for the time being, seek out those who support your well-being, who share your thoughts and feelings. In a world filled with uncertainty, which it is, of course, it's easy to feel like the future is bleak. There's always wars. Unfortunately, I think there's always going to be wars. But remember, you always have the choice of how you respond. Remember, it's perfectly okay. Give yourself permission to step back from the news in order to protect your own peace of mind. Focus on what you can control, practice gratitude, and take care of yourself. And I'm talking to you now, my lovely, lovely viewer who left me that comment. Take care of yourself. Be determined to build yourself a positive future. And who knows, in years down the line, years to come, this experience of the anxiety through COVID and wars around the country, you could build your strength. You could be the person that makes a difference in the world. That could be you. Okay, thank you for watching, and if you found this helpful, please make sure to share it with someone, especially a younger person in your life, and leave me a comment and tell me, do you think you'll be able to cut off anyone you follow who floods your feeds with negativity? Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could stop looking at your phone in the morning and at night before you go to bed? Please talk to me in the comments, I'd love to know. And share anything that you do to release this anxiety that we can all often feel when we've watched the news, and it may just help someone else who's reading your comment. Okay, I'll see you next time, and until then, remember that on the Happy Stuff and Fluff, we're getting happy, living longer and growing younger, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.